So where do we start then?
Start where you want to start, bro.
Well, first and foremost, what type of cancer did you have?
So the cancer that I had is called Hodgkins Lymphoma.
Okay.
There's non-Hodgkins, which is actually worse, and there's Hodgkins Lymphoma. The type of cancer that I had basically affects the immune system.
Okay.
You've got your lymphatic system, which runs alongside your other systems in your body, and you have your lymph nodes. So when you get a cold, you see like your lymph nodes underneath your neck, maybe around here, maybe your arms. So there's loads of different points in your body where you have lymph nodes. So when you have a flu or a bad cold or whatever else, or even just a sore throat, you might notice now.
And they swell up.
It'd probably be even more evident now that I've said it. But so these parts swell up, and it's basically like the body's way of getting rid of the waste or the bad stuff and putting it to a place where it then sort of, this is from my understanding, but getting it to a place where it then can release it through, I don't know, sweat, or I don't know, through other ways and means that the body distributes it out of your system. Obviously if that fails, which basically a cancer is basically a failure of something, if that fails, obviously that's when the body then goes into this state of trying to fight off what the attack is. So the cancer that I had obviously was an attack on my immune system.
Take me back then to
way back,
like
way back into that.
Take me back to pre-diagnosis.
Pre-diagnosis, life was normal, bro. Life was, what was I, 16? About 16. So obviously, man, finish school. Went to uni, went to college. Normal, playing semi-pro. Do you know what I mean? Playing for the college football team, in college, doing this and that. Had a job at the same time. JJB Sports, bro, back in the day. That was the first job. So obviously, my brother used to work there. So as soon as I left school, we had a job lined up for me. So I was doing the school. I was doing the college thing, doing the work thing, doing the football thing. So I've a couple of things going for me in that sense. You know what I mean? Like, and getting my own money at the same time, because I thought, you know what, I ain't gonna do the scrimp and scrape sort of thing in my mindset anyway. So that's what I was doing, and it hoping to still make some of the football thing
about girls and stuff.
It's normal. You know what I mean? Like, go. Obviously, as it says, it was early, so man will obviously still link up with the girls from school. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe a party here and there. Normal 16-year-old stuff, I guess. I think I had my 17th birthday, college, September, June of next year, so I would have been 17. That was pre anyway.
What happened to make you feel alarmed, like that something wasn't right?
You know what? I don't record too much of an issue in that sense. As it says, life was normal, bro. I was doing everything that I could at that age. And no badness. But yeah, normal. Like, I must have had a cold or a flu or something like that, and it must have, you know, you take your Lemsip and your lemon and honey and all of this, whatever. Got over that, and then I must have said to my mum, what's this on my neck, shoulder? And obviously these times, as it says, I got over my cold, and then I had like my glands around here, so it was around here, and probably a bit around here as well on your neck. So I was obviously me, you know, shower, blah 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 blah. You know, mum, what's this? Showing her, not too sure what that is. It's your glands. Obviously, my mum's a nurse, so it's like it's your glands. Obviously, you just had a cold. This, that, and the other. We'll keep an eye on it. So that was a conversation really, and then all credit to my mum. She obviously does what a mum does, and she obviously checked up on me, like saying, yo, are them glands still swollen on your neck? So from there, really,
like after a period of time,
she must have left it like another 2 weeks or another week and a half or whatever, and she was like, we'll have to book in with a doctor and see what go on. Because obviously if it's something that we need to, you know, want to find out why they're still there basically. And as it says, my life was normal apart from these glands. Now
Yeah.
at this stage now they were visible.
Okay.
So you could see them. So I've obviously, from what I remember, I was consciously trying to
Cover them up and
wear
stuff.
stuff to, do you know what I mean, cover my neck up, because obviously I didn't know what I got.
Like, how big are we talking?
They were varying in size, and so the ones on my neck here on the side, they were small, but the ones around here, I guess the bigger lymph
So like
nodes.
all of the lymph nodes were showing up.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So
okay.
I think you have 4 maybe here, so you got 2 there, and then 2 round about here.
Yeah.
This is without any scientific knowledge behind it. This is just me speaking, but
It's your
yeah,
experience.
yeah. So you could see them. That's what I'm saying. They were probably like, I don't know, this big,
Okay.
and they were raised, and so it's not like. It's not in like a spot where you wouldn't spot it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like as
yeah.
it says, you've got lymph nodes all over your body, like in between your groin and your armpits.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So these are on your neck, on my neck. So, yeah, you could see it.
Yeah.
It's one of them ones, and as it says, I was consciously trying to cover them up
Yeah.
in the meantime. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, went to the doctors, just saying, "Yo, doc, got these lymph nodes. I got these things." That's what
Yeah.
I was saying on
Yeah.
my neck. My mum said that my glands swollen up. She was obviously there in her room. She obviously explained, history for the last couple of weeks or whatever. And then he was just like, okay. I think he must have went through maybe a series of questions at the time, like, have you got any past illnesses? Have you taken anything irregular? Have you been doing anything strenuous? All that type
All the
of
routine stuff.
Yeah, all the routine stuff.
Yeah.
And there was nothing that he could say that would obviously
Be the cause.
be the cause,
Yeah.
other than the fact that I had a cold
The
or
cold,
something.
cold.
But as it says, like, these type of things, they usually fade away
Okay.
once you've got past. Obviously they can linger, and then
Yeah,
obviously they
yeah.
might gradually slow down, but
Yeah.
they usually fade away. So I think it might have been a case where he just said maybe a follow-up appointment. My mum will probably watch this and correct me, but maybe it was like a follow-up appointment few weeks down the line,
Yeah.
just to see what was going on. And then again, all credit to the doctor that I had at the time at the GP surgery. He was my normal doctor, yeah. So all credit to him. He didn't really waste any time once he seen me again.
Yeah.
Followed up for a follow appointment, and then was just like, okay, well, let's do some bloods. Let's try and get a biopsy done and stuff like that. And these are new words to me: biopsy and this, that, and the other. Do you know what I mean? So, that was the process from me having a bit of a cold to my man saying, let's do a biopsy, and that was in the space of, 3-4 months.
So when you're getting the biopsy done now, like, or even prior to the biopsy,
Yeah, go on.
even prior to the biopsy,
Yeah.
when you've gone through this process,
Yeah.
like, can you remember how you felt?
I probably was still feeling nothing. You get me? Like, obviously he was just saying, let's just do some bloods and a biopsy.
Okay.
Remember, I ain't really experienced life anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So for me to even know or check about what biopsies, I'm still thinking, football this day, blah de blah this day and the other. I'm still thinking of the regular. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to do me in that sense. I'm still trying to get about, do whatever I need to do.
Yeah.
And it's not like he said, you need to take it easy, or it's something to be considered. Do you know what I mean?
It didn't make you feel panicked or anything like
See
that?
what I'm saying? I was just casual, just going about my thing.
See, if it wasn't for your mum, do you think, like, how much longer do you think you probably would have left it before you went to the GP yourself?
Well, at the same time, I'm a guy, innit? Like, I'm a boy, so I probably would have left it.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I probably would have left it until, like, only Lord knows. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I was obviously, I was concerned.
Yeah.
In the sense where these glands were there for a while.
Yeah.
So maybe it wouldn't have been too much longer, but it's hard to say, really.
I'm with you.
I don't think it would have been as prompt as how my mum was in regards to, okay, cool, GP, okay, what next?
Like, pattern everything.
You know what I mean?
Like,
She just,
organized.
as it says, my mum's a nurse, so clinically she's on top of it. She's a very good nurse.
Yeah.
She's on top of her stuff. So I think in her mindset, as much as maybe the maternal instinct was there about my son, I think in her mindset she was just going for the gears. Do you know what I mean? So
Does that work?
She was at work, innit? You know what I mean? She was working. I was the patient. In her mind, I was the patient in that sense.
So how did things progress then with the diagnosis?
So from there, appointment was booked in for the biopsy.
Yeah.
Which was done at the hospital, and they done a biopsy, bro. They done a biopsy. Go on.
You're gonna have to. I don't even know what a biopsy is.
That's what I was gonna say, but that's what I was gonna go into because I didn't at this stage. So a biopsy is basically when a clinician, doctor, whatever you like, has a method of extracting some of or all of a substance to then test it in a lab to see what it is.
Okay.
So, as it says, I got booked in for this appointment, biopsy. Yeah, we'll do the biopsy. We'll find out what's going on. Bam, bam, bam. Yeah, cool. So these times, summer holidays, whatever. And I'm thinking, okay, is it going to affect me too much? I've been explained to, okay. So they're explaining, okay, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to use this instrument, this tool, and we're going to go into the largest gland. I think the GP must have explained it in partial bits anyway, because he would know what it is. We're going to go into this gland, the largest gland that you've got, and try and extract some of the
whatever's in there.
To try and test it in a lab, and we'll obviously be able to then see what I go on, see what it is, and send the results back to your GP. Follow up appointment, blah blah blah. So they have this instrument, right? Now I don't know if it's changed since then or whether it's the same for every biopsy, but I have this instrument and the needle, I swear to God, was about this big, bro.
Serious.
The thing, and that's not the rest of the instrument. So I remember the lady, I think it was, picking up the thing off the table, and the thing was about this big. And I was like, where's that going? Do you know what I mean? She's like, no, you don't need to be alarmed. This, that. So
I think I do, you know.
You know what I mean? It's a bit too late for that because I ain't seen one of them before. You know the ones.
I'm alarmed.
Yo, it's past that already. So obviously, yeah. I'm cool with needles anyway, do you know what I mean? I'm cool, more so now, but I'm cool with needles anyway. So these times, as it says, I think they must have anesthetized the area. Yeah. And sort of, I guess it worked like a syringy type, but they have to go in. So when we say the needle's about this long, the thickness is about probably that long.
In diameter?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's do you know what I mean? It's not like your normal like blood type of needle. So obviously I just remember her coming up with the thing and me trying not to flinch, you know, trying to firms it, you get me? So obviously got into the neck area and I guess draw it out. And I remember saying, oh, let me see, when she finished, do you know what I mean? And I remember her taking it out and showing me like the sample, I guess what they extracted, and bro, you could barely see it. Like you could barely see anything.
The liquid?
It was, I guess it was like maybe tissue or like it wasn't a liquid. You could just, but it was that small that I was thinking they can test that. And obviously then I guess my science lessons or whatever, like, oh, okay, microscopic, blah blah blah, but it was small. So I'm thinking, is that enough? Like all of that for that? I'm thinking, okay, let's see what I go on. So must have been like, I don't know, 2 weeks. Maybe 2 weeks, normal time frame, innit? Biopsy, normal follow up time frame. So yeah, that's what a biopsy is anyway. Yeah. And then the follow up was that to the GP called me and says, yeah, got your results.
Talk to me, man. Can you remember, like, did you go in or was it on the phone or?
So this is the GP, remember? So my man called me in, went to the GP. It's like, cool, we've got your results from your GP.
Who was you with?
My mum.
Just your mum, yeah.
For that whole all of this thing, I would have been with my mum for the whole. Okay. For what we were going to talk about, it was me, my mum, for the whole thing. So, there's obviously honourable mentions here and there, but yeah. The ROD in that moment was the mumsy, but yeah. So obviously gone down there. GP calls in. Yeah, cool. We've got your results. Basically, we're gonna have to rebook you in for another biopsy. Yeah. Because the sample that they took wasn't enough for them to determine what it could be. Okay. So I'm like, I thought that. Do you know what I mean? When I seen it. So obviously, I was a bit vexed about that. I was like, oh, okay, so this is still been longed out. Do you know what I mean? I'm still trying to figure out what's going on. I'm still trying to sort out my next year of college. Do you know what I mean? Like September's pending, this, that, and the other, and I'm still doing it. Do you know what I mean? I'm still filling out the forms, this, that, and the other. Still doing the stuff. And then it was like, but we basically cool. We're gonna have to book you in for another biopsy, but this one will be different. You'll have to go to sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, because basically they'll have to extract part or most or all of one of your glands to actually take that and test that.
Serious, the whole gland.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can see. Is it this side?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a reminder of
what you've
the start.
Through. The start. That's the start.
That's a reminder of the start.
Okay.
Because I think from then it was very fast paced, man. Like, so obviously when I had that, I went in for that. Obviously went to sleep, this, that, and the other. They extracted it. I think it was maybe another 2 weeks from then. These times, as I said, I'm looking to start the next year of college or whatever else, and then it was, boom. We're gonna refer you to the oncologists.
Okay. Which
are basically cancer doctors.
Okay.
Everybody knows that oncologists, they deal with a lot of bloods and cancers or whatever else. And they referred me to City Hospital.
Okay.
And the oncology unit there.
At what point did you start to like actually get proper worried now?
Well, I didn't know what any of this meant still, and I was still pretty seamlessly oblivious because, as it says, I was still waiting for results from blah. And I didn't know that it was oncology until like I was in the room or whatever else. You know what I mean? Like oncology's I'm 16, 17, bro. Oncology is like
not familiar with.
Do you know what I mean? And my mum was obviously
medical jargon.
Do you know what I mean? My mum's obviously doing her best to not make me panic
and
blah. She's just going through the motions. You know what I mean? Okay, we've got an appointment this day. We're gonna have to go see blah blah blah.
Yeah.
This, that, and the other. So she done a very good job of protecting my sort of innocence to the scenario.
Okay. That's nice.
And maybe sort of, making me still feel like I can still do stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? As best as possible.
Yeah.
So got referred there for the results of that now. And again, she'll probably watch this and say I've got it wrong somewhere. But from my memory, I've got there. I think I was with my mum again, and then gone into the area, and then they do. She became a regular. They do you the bloods. They do your bloods when you first get into this room.
Yeah.
And this room, to which I wouldn't have realised at the time. This room is obviously patients going through treatment or patients that have just been diagnosed with various different cancers, maybe.
Okay.
So when you get to this room, they do. It's funny. Anytime after this whole thing that I've been through, I used to go there and check in on the nurses and stuff like that. Like they were sick, man. Yeah. The doctors. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. So I used to go back and check, but it's not there now. So
Serious?
I don't know where the nurses are gone. But yeah, I used to go in this room, get my bloods done, get my weight checked, get my height checked. Those are 3 things. And then you used to have to wait for your bloods to come back.
Yeah.
Before you get called into the room with the doctors.
What, on the same day?
Yeah, same day. So
okay, cool.
they've got the lab in the area, so the turnaround is pretty quick.
Yeah.
Considering obviously when you get your bloods done, you usually have to wait a couple of days. But they test your bloods, and the turnaround is pretty quick for the main things that they need to check. Obviously, if there's others, it will take longer. So call me in the room, and then it was I don't. This is a part what I wish I could remember, like the words that they said.
Yeah.
And for the life of me, I can't remember what they said. Like,
it's gone.
Like, I remember maybe, and obviously I can't mention names, but I remember my main doctor. I had 2 main doctors, but I remember my main doctor that I had a pretty good relationship with.
Yeah.
It was her that obviously then, was laying out what it was that they found. But for the life of me, I can't remember.
Like the specifics.
Yeah. I guess it's been my mind's way of protecting myself.
I hear ya.
Do you know what I mean? But I think it would have been along the lines of something, you know, very maybe, you know, cliche but still true. You know, we've done your biopsy and the results are showing that you've got a cancer of your lymphatic system.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to. It's called Hodgkins Lymphoma, and it's at stage 2A now. There's obviously loads of different stages. So obviously this is where I was obviously finding out a bit more about. And this is in the same conversation. So obviously I think she must have said it and let it maybe sink in, and just maybe went into. And all this time, I think I remember looking at my mum like throughout the conversation, because obviously she's talking to me and my mum, but obviously I think at the time I was trying to focus on what she was saying, but at the same time I blocked out what she was saying, but then was looking at my mum. So I feel like she was talking, but it wasn't really.
It's not sinking.
Yeah, and I feel like what I remember now is just based on what I know about it, rather than
like what you know that happened.
Yeah,
but not what
but
actually.
Not the conversation. Do you get me?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, from what I know of it, she would have told me that I would have had Hodgkin's lymphoma stage 2A, and as I was saying, there's different stages. Now they caught it pretty early.
Okay. Cool.
Because you have 4 stages, and then they categorize them, I think, up to 3 letters or 4 letters.
Yeah.
So stage 1 A B C D or ABC. I can't remember if it's 3 or 4, and then stage 2 ABC.
Yeah.
So obviously the closer to 1 you get, is the less of an issue, if you like, a less of a bad cancer, so to speak. Obviously, the higher you get, so 4C D is going to be the worst kind of it.
Yeah.
But in itself, Hodgkin's lymphoma is probably the one of the most curable cancers anyway. I think at the time, it's probably gone up now, but at the time I think it had like a cure rate or a remission rate, if you like, of maybe like 93-95%. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
So how was you? Was 16 or 17 at the time?
17 I would have been, yeah. So I was going into my second year of college.
As a 17-year-old man.
Yeah. Teenager,
man, baby.
Yeah. Really? Yeah.
Finding out that you got cancer, like, can you remember, like, emotionally and mentally, like, the place that you was in?
Blank.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said I wish I could. I feel like I feel more about it in my adult life.
Yeah.
Knowing how it's affected me mentally.
Yeah.
Maybe spiritually, physically, obviously, emotionally, and obviously these type of things I guess you tend to develop. Maybe it's a generic, but you tend to develop as you get older, and you get more in tune to know who you are and finding out your place in society and how you fit in. I feel like I've been more in depth and more in touch with that and how my cancer journey affected me now rather than when it was initially there. I think at the time, emotionally, when she told me, didn't feel anything, bro.
No.
I think for myself, no. I feel at the time, as it says, I was looking at my mum, so I think at the time I was more concerned for what my mum was feeling and how she's gonna deal with that scenario, maybe how my friends would then feel, my family would feel. Do you know what I mean? Obviously I didn't have a babes at that time, do you know what I mean? So it's just my brethrens, I guess, my family and my mum. Do you know what I mean? Obviously my dad is played a very minimal part in my life. Do you know what I mean? Since early, so it's literally obviously me and my 2 brothers been with my mum. So me going through my childhood up to a teenage years to then hear that, my emotion, I think at that moment was just on my mum.
At that time, like obviously previous to you being diagnosed, your life was what you probably consider to be quite normal.
Yeah, it was normal.
Like a normal childhood.
Yeah.
So did that change? Like after your diagnosis, did that change?
Was it not normal anymore?
Yeah.
I think I tried to keep it as normal as possible, knowing that certain things would change or certain things would stop me from doing stuff.
Go on.
I think I think that's what I tried to mentally do anyway.
Yeah.
And then obviously with me doing that, or me having that mindset, I tried to then make my actions then be taken out in a very normal way.
What kind of things couldn't you do?
So I mean, so was maybe skipping, I guess, because
Okay.
it sort of affected me at different stages differently.
Cool.
Because from that point, and I'll try and surmise it really without boring people, but I think from that stage it was just a case of, we know what it is, they've diagnosed it, they've given me the plan in regards to how they wanted to treat it.
You have to have it.
So yeah, so they told me how they want to treat it, and basically it was just going to be chemotherapy with no radiotherapy. Some people have two, some people just have radio, some people just have chemo.
Yeah.
So it was a type of chemo called ABVD, if I've said that right. And you come in and they give you that chemo via a drip.
Yeah.
So that room that I talked about that I was in,
Yeah.
I've gone from a couple of weeks down the line now, gone from, you know, being the guy just getting a blood test,
Yeah.
not knowing who these people are around me,
To be one of these people.
to being one of these people.
I hear ya.
I think when I realised that, I think that in that sense I then took that on board and was like, okay, now I have to soak this in and sort of,
It's real.
yeah, as much as it, do you know what I mean? As it says, because it was very, very fast paced. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't really a delay, which, all thanks to God.
Thankfully.
And then obviously the clinicians, there weren't really a delay in a lot of stuff. So, you know, there was MRI scans and CT scans, Lord Jesus, CT scans, MRI scans that I had to go through, because obviously it's cancer in it. So obviously it can affect the body in different ways, and obviously me saying the lymphatic system, a cancer can then spread and go to other areas. So these CT scans and the MRI scans, we're checking my whole body and
to make sure it's not spreading and stuff.
Not spreading.
Monitoring it.
Yeah. And obviously they found in these CT scans that I had a mass in my chest as well, which is obviously part of the cancer.
Okay.
So yeah, so we'll fast forward a bit, and it was just, as it says, like the ABVD treatment, which was basically me going in, and they sort of try and set you up to how it's going to feel like, but I guess everybody's different.
Yeah.
Me and you would be different on how we would tolerate it and how we, but they also told me, it will most likely rock you a bit.
Yeah.
It will probably be easier to start off with, and getting through the course of the chemo, you'll probably start to feel it a bit more.
What kind of timescales are we talking?
Yeah, so we're talking a set of chemo treatment every 2 weeks for 4 times.
Okay.
So it would be a week, a Thursday, it was always Thursdays, man. Thursday when I'd go there, I'd get my chemo.
Yeah.
And then I'd go home, you know, recover, do what I'm doing, blah blah. And these times, as it says, I tried to keep things normal, so I was still in the belief that I was gonna be able to go to college.
For the second year.
But when it came to obviously all these appointment times and blah blah blah, work, obviously I was still employed at the time. Obviously I had to go on a sick, and was trying to work out how I can still do college, because I was doing a 2-year sports course.
Okay.
And I passed my first year, so I was thinking, it's easy, I can just do my second year, get my qualifications for that, and then move on. You get me? But I had to. They were sort of saying, if you can get your work done at home, because you signed up for the next
college
year, if you can get your work done at home, then cool. And
is that what you tried to do? Yeah.
Tried, man. I tried to. I thought in my mindset, if I just I've done my first year, it was 18 assignments. There's no tests. It was 18 assignments. So I've done my first year. I can get to a stage where I'm whacking these assignments out, and then obviously I can get the practicals done when I'm, a bit more mobile or whatever else.
Yeah.
And as it says, my mindset was still on doing that, and didn't happen. Not as it got on. Do you know what I mean? Like, as it says, like, they were right. There was the start of it was
okay.
It was okay. Do you know what I mean? I'd get a bit of nausea.
Yeah.
And I was very sensitive to smells.
Okay.
Certain smells, obviously, I'll be put off. Even now, bro, like, I can't smell
Serious?
certain. Yeah. There's a particular tape that they used to use when they used to finish. I used to put it over with like a, you know, like when you're getting a blood test.
Yeah,
There's a particular tape that they use.
You can smell it.
Bro, even now, I have to say now, change that tape.
Serious?
Yeah, because the smell is just too sensitive, do you know what I mean? But yeah, my mum used to obviously have to go to the chemist and stock up on the tape, so obviously when I was finished, she could put the tape over. So yeah, man, my mum was a G. Still is. But yeah, so over time, it just got harder to get myself going. It would take me up to, so as it says, it was a Thursday, go through that week to the next Thursday, and then by that Thursday I would start the next Thursday I would start getting a bit of life back, starting to eat a bit more, starting to you know, maybe, I don't know, do this and that,
feel like energy a bit,
feel a bit more normal, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But same time, obviously I wasn't going to college, wasn't going to work anymore, so I was just maybe playing football outside when I could. You know, most times it's probably just playing on the Xbox, but Xbox 360, playing Gears of War. Shout out to Gears of War, hold me down. With my cousins online and that, a couple of brethrens, and that was it really. That was a routine. I was obviously trying to, you know, still read stuff. Still, I like reading. Still trying to read stuff. Still trying to just do what I could. Do you know what I mean? Because at the same time, it was, you know, you're having chemo now, your immune system's going to be affected. You can't then go to places where your immune system could be compromised.
Yeah, that's true. So you kind of it's kind of like now these times where you got to keep yourself in a bubble.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
it's mad.
Yeah. So I feel like when you're talking about now, like,
you've experienced it.
It's all right. Do you know what I mean? I've gone through a phase of doing that.
Yeah.
So maybe I guess it's prepared my mindset in that sense. Like, do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, it got harder.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the time we reached the 4th set of ABVD, which would have been like 8 weeks down the line.
Yeah.
I was busted, man. Yeah, I was busted. Didn't lose no hair though.
No.
Still on my braids back in the day then.
So when you said like you can't move or you weak,
so it was just hard, like, energy wise.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was just energy wise, and you know, chemo can affect it. It affected me in different ways in regards to, like, I was realizing that I was being moody for no reason, snapping at my mum or snapping at this person, but not actually meaning to or having a control over that scenario. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was very, like, impulsive. And they say that can be based on the chemo. Yeah. So, you know, loss of appetite, loss of weight, you know, lethargic, nausea, sensitive to smell, no taste, kind of like COVID. But yeah, like them type of.
And it altered your personality as well.
Altered the personality as well, which is obviously interesting based on drugs, because they can. Do you know what I mean? True. You can take cocaine or heroin that can alter your personality. These are just controlled, so to speak, drugs. So why wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean?
It makes sense when you put it like that still.
Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, they did a number on me still. Not gonna lie, yeah. That did anyway, yeah.
How dark did it get? Like when you're
at that stage?
Yeah.
It didn't really get that dark.
It's okay.
Yeah, it didn't really get that dark. It was just, as it says, for me, it was just boom, get through this, get back to normal.
You always felt like you're gonna recover. Like, I've just gotta go through this period of time now.
Yeah.
That's good.
So let's say 8 weeks down the line, from the get go, remember?
Yeah.
From when she told me, I didn't even phase it in any way. Do you know what I mean? So that just went poof, and maybe that was God looking over me in regards to not making it shake me in that sense. And remember, these times I was still going for CT scans, I was still going for MRIs, still going for blood tests. You know what I mean? I was still going for all of this stuff, and at the be all and end of all, I was still thinking, 8 weeks. They said, boom, I'll get through it, and then I'm blessed. I can maybe get back into college. You know what I mean? Just catch up. You get me? Because this is before Christmas time, so not even halfway through a term, if you like.
What was the reality then?
My mindset was very much focused on that. It got to the end of 8 weeks, and I was obviously weak. and it was taking longer. I think, as I said, like initially it was a week, and then so it was Thursday, and then by the next Thursday I was okay.
It's feeling okay, yeah.
So that will be a week until I had to go back, and as it started to get to more,
the recovery time was taking longer.
Yeah, it was taking longer. So it was then okay. Maybe I feel alright on a Tuesday now.
Okay.
Thursday I'm back at it,
Yeah,
and then it would be maybe the first. Before it used to be, yeah, I'm alright on the chemo day. Let me just go sleep. I'll wake up, eat, blah blah blah, and then it was like the couple of days after, then it would start to hit me.
Yeah.
But then, as it says later on, it was the Thursday when I get it. Thursday I'm battered. You know what I'm saying? So the recovery time in between was just getting shorter and shorter, longer and longer. Sorry. Yeah. But yeah, as it got to the end of it, yeah, man, they told me, cool, we're doing CT scans, we can see the mass reducing, blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? The weight, this, that, and the other, checking blood, blah 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 blah. So they and we were of the belief, as you would, that was fine in it. Do you know what I mean? Like it's going the way I had it in my mind. Do you know what I mean? Like it's going, the massive reducing.
It's all positive.
You know what I mean? Like that's exactly what that's exactly what I've patterned here and played out in my mind, and that's exactly what's being laid out.
Yeah.
But that weren't it though.
Nah,
that weren't it, man.
That
weren't it, bro. That weren't it. That is what I would say halfway through that journey.
Okay.
So the next half was just a bit of more of a madness, because as it says, they were saying, boom, yeah, your mass is reducing, this, that, and the other, and it's getting to the next. Go on, what are you gonna say?
I was gonna say, after this bout of chemo, the four sets of chemo.
Yeah.
Were they telling you that after that, no, you're not gonna have cancer anymore? Or what was they saying to you?
Nah, I mean, they wouldn't ultimately say that anyway, because obviously
they're not gonna get your hopes up. Or
nah.
That makes sense.
They wouldn't have got my hopes up anyway. Obviously, when you finish a round of chemo and they obviously say you're in remission, but we're skipping a bit, but you then on the books.
Okay.
For a 5-year period, maybe for me, and it was 5 years. Obviously, for other people, it could be less, it could be longer.
Okay.
But for me, it was 5 years. So I was on the books for 5 years, even when they told me I was in remission. Thank God. Which is obviously years back now. But yeah, they wouldn't get your hopes up. They would say we're monitoring it. We'll have to keep doing scans, this, that, and the other. So that's all what they were saying.
Okay.
And they were obviously indicating that the mass is going in the right direction, in reducing in its size. As it says, they were more
positive news.
Positive news. They were more concerned about the mass in my chest area, because that was the biggest area.
Yeah.
So obviously, when they seen that was shrinking, they were like, "Cool, rest of your body, cool, blah blah blah." But as I said, one of the CT scans came back, one of the MRI scans came back, whichever one it was. PET scan, CT, MRI, I don't know which one it was, and they were like, we've noticed that the mass in the chest area has started to grow again, which is obviously not the direction it should be going. So it was like, why? What now?
Because I'm thinking you're already doing the things that you should be doing to reduce this mass.
This is what I'm saying, and obviously my mum, bro, I can't eat papaya now, you know.
Serious?
You know papaya? If anybody knows papaya, bro, I can't eat that.
Why?
Come on, mum obviously was on her thing.
Oh, serious?
What? Natural. Obviously, the naturals, you get me? Yeah. And to be fair, it probably has had an effect. Obviously, it'd be good to research and see what the effects are. But obviously, there are loads. There's soursop. There's loads of different tomatoes, cranberry, all that type of stuff, antioxidants that a man was just indulging in. Everything that could be possibly indulged in. Alongside. Do you get me? So
it's not gonna do any harm, is it?
You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna do any harm. So obviously, papaya though, bro, she used to blend that up. And she used to try her best to make it taste nice, but why is that?
This is rough.
I used to call it a pup drink, bro. I can't deal with that anymore. I can't deal with that. But yeah, man. Obviously, they would just said, boom, this. Your mass is coming back. We're gonna have to be a bit more aggressive with the treatment. And me there thinking, oh, okay, chemo and radio. No radio. It's like, oh, okay, so just chemo. Oh, okay. But it weren't just chemo. They had to basically give me, I can't remember the name, my mum would. They had to give me a chemotherapy, but then also they had to do autologous treatment, which basically means that they had to do a stem cell transplant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of them.
Yeah.
I've heard of them.
So had I, to that stage. Yeah. I didn't know what the process was, but that's what they said. Chemo, and then we'll do a stem cell transplant. So basically their idea was to give me a round of aggressive chemo, which obviously takes a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And then when I get to a certain level of, a certain stage of the chemo, they would harvest they would harvest stem cells, and reintroduce them to my system. That's a stem cell transplant. So basically, it's like a transfusion. So like, you know, I don't know if you've seen people go for like blood transfusions, or you've seen people and they sit there on a bed and they've got one. Yeah, it was kind of like that basically. But I'll get to that in a bit, so because that's the next part of the story. But that was the idea. Like cool. How's the plan? So these times now, I was then referred over to Queen Elizabeth Hospital, because there was a clinician over there that would be overseeing the stem cell transplants. Blah blah blah. I'm at 3 hospitals now, so I'm at QE, Sandwell, and City. So there's 3 hospitals that I have to keep going to.
Why?
Different
Treatments.
Different treatments, different reasons, different clinicians based. Obviously, Sandwell and City, they work together anyway. They come under the same type of hub. And then obviously QE, the best hospital in Bromley. Probably one of the best hospitals in the UK from what I know. So obviously they were, as it says, they were overseeing that stem cell transplant, but that would come at the end of the chemo. So for the chemo part, I was doing it at City, and then so basically these times now, it's all good now, but these times now, because of how aggressive the treatment was, they say it's one of the things that can happen when you have loads of needles being inserted to your veins and chemo going through your veins. It can burn your veins. So basically you're sensitive to touch because of your veins are through your body. You're sensitive to touch, and also they can potentially die in a sense, not obviously because you still have blood going through your veins, but it then becomes virtually impossible for them to insert treatment into a vein. So they were then trying to insert veins from this arm, back of my hand, you know, different parts to try and, you know what I mean, because of what they were trying to hold off on was give me what they call a Hickman line. It's their way, the doctor's way of giving you chemo through I guess a safer method. So it's not as in it's not as detrimental to your veins, because by this time, as it says, my veins are shut anyway. You can't draw blood from them, you can't insert any chemo in them, you can't push through any saline, which is basically just a salty fluid to clear it, and you can't do anything with them basically. It's just there doing the sole purpose of being veins, nothing else. You get me? So the procedure is basically I got war wounds for this, so I had to go in and get going for an operation, and basically they insert a line. That's why it's called a Hickman line. They insert a line into your heart chamber. And then
how?
So you can see. So they go. I can't remember the full details, but they go in here. And then the line sort of goes across you sort of your heart chamber sort of thing, and then you'll get the output here. So on the output there, you'll have like, it reminded me of braids, bro, because when they've done it, reminded me, you know, when it had the beads at the end of the braids, bro. Obviously, it wasn't. The output of the line was there. It was on my chest. Obviously, it was on my clothes or whatever. But you could hear it. So you know when people just shed their braids, and you can hear them. That's what you could hear. Obviously, when they're walking and that. So yeah, that's what it reminded me of. Anyway.
So that stayed in there.
So that stayed there. So obviously that was there. And these times, as it says, I was still going, you know, trying to do stuff. I think there must have been a birthday thing, and I was pleading with them. Pleading with them, yo, please let me go, man. I want to go cutting. Please let me go. They were like, you can go, but you have to be very careful to protect it, because obviously if you bump this, that and the other, you've got a line in your heart, your chest chamber area, you get me?
So what's Mumsy saying about this go-kart?
But obviously at the same time, she's like, she don't want to, I've done nothing, you get me? So the one thing that I'm saying, yo, I want to go, she weren't really going to be the one to say nah.
I hear you.
So really and truthfully, she let me go. It's cool.
It's alright.
It's alright. There was no, yeah. I remember that, as it says, because it says I had that with the go-kart, so when I was going around the bends and
Serious?
rattling. I was like, yeah. But anyway, so obviously that to insert that, and that was, as it says, a safer way or a better way of inputting and outputting bloods or inputting chemo and clearing blah blah blah. As you know, with any operation, it comes with a risk.
Yeah.
So they said when they done it, it does come with a risk. It can get infected, this, that and the other. Obviously, if it does get infected, that would mean that we have to take the line out.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fine. Can't do anything anywhere. Need the treatment. Do you need to do it? I'm blasé, bro. Because, you know what I mean? Do what you need to do. Get me out of here.
I'm here, just
you know what I'm saying? Celebrity or not, get me out of here. You know what I'm saying? So that was the vibe, really. So I was on whatever that made sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, they inserted that, and that was obviously to keep the chemo keep going. But the first set and the next set, it's on a drip.
Oh,
so,
yeah,
you know,
you did say actually.
Yeah, it's on a drip, and so you go into a room. I guess it might be different places, but you go into a room and it's like you see it in the movies or whatever else. You got the bag, and you've got your
going it's making sense
into
now.
Your arm.
So when they say more aggressive, what you're saying is probably there's more chemicals in the bag
in the
that's
chemo.
Basically going through.
Yeah. That's generally it. Yeah. Rather than they have to, blast me with a gun or you know what I mean.
But the thing is, like, it sounds
to comprehend
silly.
Yeah. It's just more aggressive chemicals in the bag. That's obviously for them better at treating and reducing a mass. Obviously that they were concerned about. So
cool.
So they had to do that. They put the Hickman line in, and they obviously told me there would be. This would have been at the start anyway. Obviously told me that there would have been risk of me then having children, so I had to harvest my seeds and that. So I had to do that, but obviously that was from before anyway. They also, because of this stem cell transplant, and I'll explain that. But because of this stem cell transplant, they were having to look in my immediate family to see whether their stem cells match me. So they checked my mum, obviously, and my two brothers, and I was seeing if their cells match mine, so they could do stem cells, grafts, and collections from them.
Did they match or?
They didn't match.
Okay.
So I remember, and if they don't know this, so when they see this, they'll probably be like, you didn't say nothing. But it's one of them things that you hold to yourself. And as it says, I think I'm like, I think I mentioned it to the missus, but it's one of them things that you sort of hold to yourself because you could see the hurt in that moment. So there must have been a time when maybe soon after they're done, they were working out the stem cells, blah 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 blah, and it must have been at my nan's house. Because these times I weren't in any hospitals or whatever else. It was in and out. So yeah, they must have done that. It was this moment, and I remember this as clear as now. And I must have went outside because I was in my nan's house looking for my mum to ask her something. I can't remember what. Ask her something. Obviously, my brothers and that they live away now.
Yeah.
They're man bounced, but they must obviously been back and forth, whatever else in Brum. So to be fair, actually, at this time, my oldest brother, he was still very much in Brum and helping to do like the twos and fros when my mum couldn't do it. Blah 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 blah. My cousin as well. My couple of cousins, they were doing that. But yeah, I digress. So there's this moment where I was at my nan's house and I was looking for my mum in the house, couldn't find her, and I think someone says, she went outside. So obviously I went outside, and then as I opened the door, and I'm glad I didn't shout mum at this moment, because when I didn't open the door, I seen my mum and my two brothers in a circle, hugging, crying. So obviously, that must have been like a moment for them where it must have just hit them in a way where, and maybe there was other moments that happened, but that for me was a evident moment where I realised what I'm going through has affected everybody else. Do you know what I mean? And maybe I guess I felt a bit of guilt.
Yeah.
In that sense, like I've caused other people around me. Obviously, this is.
It's not your fault, man.
I get. You know what I mean? But in that moment,
You might feel like that.
do you know what I'm saying? I've caused everybody else's life to just be in boom because of me.
Yeah.
And now they're in a stage where they're upset because of me, and I didn't want that. All for the whole, I didn't want any sympathy, and I didn't want empathy. Empathy is obviously different, but sympathy, I was totally against sympathy for me and my scenario, because there was, that you hear about it. There's kids younger than the age that I was going through stuff. There's people going through worse scenarios that I was, then. For me to get sympathy from it, do you know what I mean? So it was very much a thing where I was like, okay. So I left them, I seen them, and I went back inside.
Yeah.
Went back inside. And I probably don't know, probably is it till now, but yeah. So obviously they were trying to figure out the stem cells. They didn't match, so they said, okay, we're gonna have to harvest your own. It's like, how does that work? They're sick. Obviously, you say what you like about the medical profession, but stuff that they can do, and I'm pretty sure it's advanced more now, but the stuff that they can do is pretty nifty, bruv.
Yeah.
Because what they did was take my own stem cells from my bone marrow, put them in a chamber and system, and harvest the blood cells. So I'll explain it. So those that don't know, obviously your bone marrow is where your blood cells are developed. That's where they start. That's where they grow. That's where they're created. And it does that throughout your lifetime. Yeah. So, in order to get the root of obviously new cells, obviously that's why they wanted to use other people, because they were a bit worried about my own. But in order to get that, they needed to harvest it from the source. This is why the body's amazing. This is why God is the guy who he is, bro. Because how does that even work? Do you know what I mean? How can the body do that? And it's not even just us. Animals as well, same, the bone marrow. So they basically, the procedure for that was a bit of a mad thing, and they didn't explain it to me fully. They just said, we'll have to go into your back and harvest your cells so we can boom boom boom. So then when it comes to after your last bout of chemo, we can insert these harvested cells back into you and give you new life, essentially. That's what it was. It's new life.
It's ridiculous.
So yeah, man, they said to me, alright, cool, we'll book you in to get that done. Cool. But before they do that, they have to give you injections to boost the cell growth. And it was every night for 4 days, I think. Every night for 4 days, my mum used to have to inject me in my stomach through the fat. Boom. Like an insulin pen.
Insulin.
Yeah. So inject through the stomach, boom. Different areas every night. Maybe it was a bit longer, maybe. So to harvest, to be able to develop the stem cells to grow, so that they can have enough to harvest from me. Bro, they've done that, and I swear it got to the last day when my mum gave it me, and I went to sleep standing up, bro.
Serious?
You can ask her, you can phone my mum now. I went to sleep standing up, bro, because the pain in my back. Oh, you talk about back pain, bro?
Yeah.
The pain in my back, bro, like it made me. My mum must have came in the room, and I was facing the wall with my head on the wall like this, and I was sleeping. No, I was conked out, but standing up. I couldn't lie down, so obviously the only way I could find comfort was in this position on the wall, bro. I was sleeping standing up, bro.
That's
mad.
That's mad.
Sleeping standing up, bro. So they've done that, and then they harvested obviously the next. I was like, you need to get whatever these things are out of me, because I need to sleep. Last night I didn't sleep, so they took it all out, blah blah blah. But the procedure to do that was a mad thing. Remember I talked to you about that needle? That was virtually the size of the needle that they put in my back. But again, they anaesthetized it, so I didn't feel anything. But what I did feel was pressure. See, it's, I don't know if you can explain it, but they explained it, says, you won't feel any pain, but what you will feel is pressure, and you'll probably hear grinding.
Okay.
Because it's a bone in it.
Yeah,
so they have to get into the bone and get in it to the marrow and extract out the marrow. So obviously they had this device. I was laid down flat on a bed. It's like a masseuse bed, and there's no massage thing going on. I was on the bed, face down, and I would have wanted to see it, to be fair, but it's a bit, yeah, that's my brain, but I wanted to see it, but obviously I could hear it, so I could picture it, and it was a bit surreal. Like, I felt like I was looking down on myself in that sense. I could,
view of yourself.
Yeah. It was a bit mad, so because I could hear it, I could picture what was going on at each stage, so it was like a corkscrew.
Yeah.
The new thing about a corkscrew,
sounds scary.
So, yeah. It was a bit mad still.
Sounds scary.
It was a bit mad still. At the time, my mum went in the room. She didn't want to be in there. My dad must have came down from where he was and was in the room at the same time. And I was obviously, he was just being a liaison figure to sort of take my mind off while I go on.
That's what I was gonna ask. Did you not ask your dad to see if he was a match?
I think he did. I think it might have. I can't remember. I think it might have. Yeah, I think it might have been the case that I would have asked the immediate and then asked my dad, but whether he was in the immediate to be at the time, but obviously they would have called people to do blood test or send a blood sample or whatever, because my dad doesn't live in Brum, so I don't know how that scenario would have worked out. Don't know.
Cool.
Yeah, but yeah, no, would have matched. So yeah, there's a corkscrew technique in it, and it was into the back, and you just felt like someone just just going into your back, but it's weird. It's a weird sensation, and I guess like women can sort of maybe relate when they have like
contractions.
Not the contractions. What? You know when they have the needle to sort of numb the
epidural.
Yeah, the epidural. I think that's what it kind of relates to.
Okay.
Because you can feel the pressure, but you can't. It's mad. Yeah. So it was boom.
Yeah.
Crunching, grinding, get into there, extracting. I remember them pulling over the needle, going in, taking out what they need to, and that was that. What I will say is stuff either happened before or after then that obviously affected Wagwan, because the Hickman line that they put in, remember I told you about the Hickman line that they put in, as it says, that comes with risks. They can get infected, and once he gets infected they have to take it out. So I think this might have been after, to be fair, because I think I was in the hospital at this time. So just to surmise a bit, I was obviously going in and out of hospital for the initial, and then when it came to the last bout of it, I then had to go into hospital. I would have had to have been in hospital.
Like stop in hospital
for 4 weeks.
Okay.
So I was in hospital at one stage for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
In one ward.
Yeah.
A week of that I was in one room by myself.
Serious.
Because the neutrophils count, which is basically the white blood cells and stuff that was zilch. So I was in a room that basically had to be decontaminated, sprayed with some white mist. Nobody could go in a room for about 4 or 5 days
to protect you, like
like a quarantine type of thing. I think the only person that could go in the room was obviously the clinicians and my mum to sort of bring in my food. No visitors or anything like that. But yeah, my dates are a bit skewed. It's hard to remember without obviously bringing it on paper. I probably didn't come prepared enough, but at a stage, I think, as I said, I want to get it right, but at a stage when the line got infected, I had to take it out, and they scan your body before they do these type of things, and what they noticed was at the end of the line was a blood clot. On the inside.
Well, wasn't the inside? That's in your heart, isn't
it? Yeah. So they noticed a blood clot at the end of the line in my heart chamber. So it turns out that I had a blood clot in my heart and my lung. So I had a blood clot that was in my heart and my lung. So the chemo side of things had to stop. And then I was referred to Sandwell Hospital to have anticoagulants. You know what they are?
No.
Blood thinners, basically. So I had to have a treatment of blood thinners. Some were in tablet format, and the other format was through a line, a drip line as well. But it was like It was a machine that it was like a syringe about this big.
Yeah.
And they'd put it in the machine, and then it would take it out and then insert it into through the line. So I had tablets. I had to keep going back and forth, scans, this and that. Tablets up in the doses, down in the doses.
How far from like the start now? Yeah.
Yeah.
How far down the like how many months are we talking?
So
now?
we're talking. So 2006 is when I was diagnosed. 2006 is when I was diagnosed, and then 2007. So we're talking 2007. So maybe like this was like September.
Okay.
August, September times.
Yeah.
August, September times.
Yeah.
Touching October. So it's so obviously all this process, as it says, I've gone through chemo, gone through scans, gone through next bits of chemo, this and that and the other. So we're talking about August, September times now.
Cool.
So the process, it says, just to go back a bit, the process of me having chemo stopped because they couldn't give me chemo while I had a blood clot. Because obviously if they push things through my system,
it's gonna block.
Or just go somewhere else, clog somewhere else, cause more complications, give me a heart attack, like all that type of complications.
Scary, man.
Yeah.
Scary.
I guess I didn't realise the seriousness of the scenario, because as it says, throughout the whole thing, bro, I'm just motioning, I'm going with the flow.
Through.
I'm still, do you know what I mean? I think there may be a couple of days where I felt a bit down, or like, you know, because I didn't really have visitors.
Nah.
Do
you think that might have helped in some ways?
I don't know. I feel there's two of our school brethrens.
Yeah.
Shout out them, Steph and Kim.
Yeah.
When more so the initial, so the first rounds of treatment, was still on my braids, and that Steph does hair. Shout out Hair Fix. She was obviously doing my hair. So obviously, she used to come around the yard, do my hair, chill, go around her yard. My mum and dad, whatever, do my hair, chill. She used to do my brother's hair, blah blah blah. So obviously, Steph used to see me on the other side of, you know what I mean, when I was well enough. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Kim used to come and check on me. We used to go cinema. You know what I mean. Go for food. She used to bring food round. Blah blah blah. Just casual. You know what I mean. Just to see a different face. You know what I mean. Rather than the Xbox TV.
Yeah, of course.
My mum and then my brothers, it was different face. You know what I mean. So yeah, man. I always hail at them, and they know
that's nice.
the love that I got for them too, in that sense. So yeah, as it says, throughout the process, brother, I was just motioning. You know what I mean? Like I didn't really get visitors. There was a couple moments where I was like, yo, this is shocking. Do you know what I mean? This is rubbish. Like, that's what I
wanted to ask you really, is like, because I don't know if like out of the mandem and stuff, like who, like if people was there for you, or you know what I mean?
I think I used to see a couple of the mandem. I think, as it says, one of the go-karting was one of the mandem's birthday.
Yeah.
Can't remember whose it was. So I used to see them.
Yeah.
But it was more of an occasion. So like I used to try and go and do something. Do you know what I mean? Like try and go cinema or blah blah. And these times, as it says, my immune system is a bit, you know what I mean?
So you
I have
can't
to
be around people properly.
Too tough. Do you get me? So, but at the same time, it was more so about where I'm going as well. Do you know what I mean? So, getting kind of like now, but yeah.
What I wanted to understand as well, on a more personal level, is like when like you go through something like that, like it's a life-changing experience, and how does it affect your relationships with people?
I think at the time it didn't.
Okay.
I think now I have my go-to people.
Yeah.
And that's no discredit to anybody who's gonna watch you, or anybody who I know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yourself. There's no discredit to yourself, but I guess with everybody, they know you know your go-to people, and
like your main support network.
Yeah. So you know who you can sort of rely on. And that, again, it's not to say that it hasn't been like my missus now. Like I know, even through her own story, which obviously I won't disclose, but through her own story, I know that she would have been there as, do you know what I mean, as that person. But I think now I've come to an age where I realise who my go-to people are, who I can obviously say certain things to. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think that? I think that people tend to figure that out as they get older anyway.
Yeah.
Or do you think that
That was quicker.
Had to learn that earlier.
Yeah. I think he put a lot of things in perspective. And that's a cliche. You'll hear a lot of people who probably go through the same type of thing as me, that it puts things in perspective. You have a different outcome in life. And yeah, you do. It's not to say that life ain't still life. It's not to say that life ain't still hard.
Yeah.
But it does help. I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but it does help put things in perspective. Like certain things that I might get, stressed out about. I'll still get stressed out about, but not as long as I probably would have. Or not as long as I probably did.
You've been somewhere
Do you know what I mean?
Than what you're gonna go through, like on an average day.
Yeah. So
I hear ya.
the odd stress is like my missus will get annoyed with me, like being so laid back and casual about certain things and not being bothered or not showing a lot of passion about certain things or whatever else. But it's not because I don't care.
Yeah.
It's because I know that beyond this moment there's more to it. There's more to life in that sense.
I hear ya.
And that's not to say that I failed in certain instances of remembering that, because we're all human.
Of course.
All men. We all still feel that weight of society.
Yeah.
And when you then have kids and a partner, you then feel that weight even more. Do you know what I mean? So I think it has changed my mentality.
Yeah.
Maybe for the better, maybe for the worse. I don't know. But
what about your son? Does he know like what you've been through?
He knows. He knows I was ill. He knows I had cancer. He obviously doesn't know the ins and outs. I mean, he's only young still, so he doesn't know the ins and outs too tough. But he does know. I think I got to a stage at, maybe a couple of years ago where he knew that I was ill. I think someone that he knew actually passed away from cancer, and I think he then was asking questions, and I think his mum then said, to me, speak to your dad. Obviously her knowing the scenario. I didn't know her this time, by the way. So when I was ill, I didn't know her at the time. So I think once obviously that scenario happened for him, he was obviously confused about certain things or whatever else. So I obviously then relayed I was ill as well. This, that and the other. Just had a bit of a light conversation, but obviously let him. So he does know, but not too tough.
It's nice to be able to have these conversations with our children, though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You still have to sort of, give them a bit of reality, because you know what I mean. It's
the real world,
especially cancer. It's one of them things. I mean, they say 1 in 3.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, it's one of them things that I guess you sort of maybe at certain times or whatever else it's good to have that conversation, but yeah
it sounds like, to be fair to me, because my next question was how did you say strong throughout it, but it seems to me like you just took it in your stride.
I took it in my stride, but I think what kept the constant was the constant of the people that I used to see. So again, I'll say my mum, and I'll say my 2 cousins, I'll say my brothers. Obviously my brothers were, as it says, away, this and that, doing that, and my cousins obviously had their own lives, but my 2 cousins and my mum, my brothers, they were my support system, because obviously, I'm not gonna lie, my faith wavered in God in regards to, I question this, that and the other, but I think looking now, I think it's highlight and testament that having those people around me has obviously shown and maybe built up my faith in that way, in humanity, in family, in faith and whatever else in that sense, because I think without that
it'd have been nothing.
Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. It's tough though, because obviously, as it says, like I went through a phase of feeling let down by certain members of my family, or feeling let down by people that I thought were brethren and this and that, and maybe obviously it was MySpace back then and Facebook and that, so maybe feeling let down that this person didn't holler me from Facebook, or you said you were going to visit the hospital, and all of that type of stuff. Do you know what I mean? So I went through a stage of feeling that, but now I don't feel that way towards people, because what I've tried to do is put myself in their shoes, like what you said, like you probably didn't know where was your place to, you didn't probably know how to react to it, etc, and blah blah blah.
I think that like when I think back about it, I just think to myself, I definitely took on board how serious it was. If I'm being totally honest, I think I can't speak for anyone else. But there's definitely just an element of laziness. Like not activeness. Like thinking, oh yeah, I should do this.
But you're still same age as me though, so you're still 16, 17, bro.
I guess.
You know what I mean?
I guess. If it was my daughter, obviously I've got daughters, innit? I would expect better from them.
No, I hear you.
Like, you should have done this or you should have done that. You know what I mean? You still know right from wrong at the end of the day. But yeah, that's what I would say is definitely more.
But that's what the grace of hindsight is, though. You're able to look back on a scenario now and maybe look and think, oh, if something happened like this again, I know I'd be different. Do you know what I mean? I'd never. That's why I can't. I've gone past that phase, well past the phase of holding people to a certain level where I thought they would have. Do you know what I mean? I thought you would have. But really and truthfully, I'm not them. And how would I have reacted if?
I hear you.
So it's hard to say. Obviously, all it is the fact. All it is the truth. I was in this scenario and they weren't. So it happened the way this happened, and it happened for them. It happened the way it happened, just like yourself. So to all, the people that were around a circle or who knew me in that sense, I won't hold any of them accountable for that, and I wouldn't want anybody to, as it says, because sympathy weren't a thing that I was
looking anyway.
Do you know what I mean? So I didn't want people coming. Maybe it was me not even saying, yo, it's hard. Maybe at the time there was times where I thought this person should have or blah, but at the same time in them moments I didn't actually want people there.
I hear you.
Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like a counteractive sort of thing. Like I know, I recall, as it says, because I had to stop in hospital for 4 weeks. After they sorted out my blood clot and whatever else. As it says, that was a bit of a 6 weeks delay. 6 week delay. I'm gonna say, all right, 6 weeks delay on the whole chemo process before I could then do that. And when I actually then went into hospital, all I wanted in there was the people that I knew were there from before.
I hear you.
So when it was a case of maybe even potentially mentioning it on a conversation, I didn't mention it. Do you know what I mean? So I weren't even saying, yo, when are you gonna come and check me? Blah. I think there was one instance where I must have said it to someone. I don't even speak to this person now. I can't remember their name, but there must have been one occasion where I used to speak to this person, and they said, "Yeah, I'm gonna come check you." And I didn't. So from that moment, I was like,
You don't want to put yourself out there. Like,
you know what I mean? I'm still in a vulnerable position anyway, mentally and physically, and emotionally, which I probably didn't realize at that stage. So I'm gonna put that guard up now. So I don't have to feel that shame anymore. And furthermore, there was then the physical appearance of myself. Frail, can't really walk. I was losing my hair by this stage. I think after a while, because of how thin my hair was going, I just said to the barber, yo, take that off. So I was bald at one stage. I don't know if I've got pictures from back then. I haven't got that pictures,
No.
That's one thing I didn't do, and I wish I did. Pictures from different stages, but
like to document, look back and see,
and that's one thing I didn't do, man. I don't know if anybody has, but that's one thing I didn't do personally. Like, I didn't take a picture from at the moment where I cut my hair and blah 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 blah. Maybe because I was ashamed of what I used to see in the mirror. Maybe. Because I'd never have a bald head again,
Never.
I look like a Malteser, bro. Nah, I can't do that again, bro. I'd rather just have stubble and a cul-de-sac and a hat's blood. Get me? Yo, serious?
So talk to me about when you've actually come through all your treatment and they've said to you now you're healthy.
So it was a build up to that process, isn't it? Because it says I was adamant at this stage that was going to be the last time I had chemo. Like, I had it in my mindset. That's the last time I'm having chemo. I ain't stopping in hospital for another 4 weeks. I ain't doing this whatever you guys are telling me. I know that's it. You gave me the stem cell transplant, this, that and the other. When you guys let me out, I ain't going back in. You know what I'm saying? Them mentalities there. You know what I mean?
I'm done with this now.
You know what I'm saying? That was me. I was thinking, this cancer's taken enough time of my life, so I ain't gonna look to give it anymore. So obviously that was my mindset going forward. So it was a build up to the stage where they could say, cool, because obviously when I had the chemo, I said to them, you gotta let me out before Christmas, and this was maybe December, 2008.
Yeah.
I'd like to think.
So we've done just over 2 years, haven't we?
Yeah. December 2008. 15th of December, they let me out.
Yeah.
And I said to them, yo, do what you need to do.
Just get me out for Christmas.
I want to be out of this bed. You're not keeping me here for Christmas.
Yeah.
And they got me out for the 15th of December. So I was able to build up a bit of, health
and strength and that.
A bit of energy and that. And I was out before Christmas. So from there, it was just a case of reviews I think it was every week.
Yeah.
From there, then it was every two weeks, every 3 weeks, and then it was every month. Scans in between there just to see that the mass was decreasing in size, and because obviously the mass would have decreased anyway, and he was making sure that it didn't show back. Do you know what I mean? Because once they gave me the chemo, that blasted my white blood cell count. That's what I was saying. I was in that room. It was 0. So that's had to put me in that room to decontaminate the space before I could go out into. Because I was at 0. So that I had to be in that room until my blood cells started to pick back up. So I had at least something to defend myself
when you go out there.
When I go out back, into society or the ward or whatever else, because I was still in the hospital at these times. So it was a build up of obviously, these checks and whatever else. And I think by trying to think, I think I'd met my son's mum. I started to go out, go to the club and that. I started doing events with my cousin.
Oh yeah.
But I was still going back and forth because, as it says, I was on the radar for them for 5 years after that point. So for 5 years, from 2009, when I was 2009, I was on their radar to check and bloods and weight and whatever else. So I was still trying to do me. Still trying to, still trying to go to a club, maybe have a drink, because I'd never got to a stage where I remember the first night my mum would never let this down. I remember the first night I must have went out, and he gets bullied for this all the time, when he took me out to a club for the first time after
everything,
and I came back
serious
writ off, and he got
that's reckless though.
It was, and I wanted to be reckless, because for the past 2.5 years I weren't reckless. Do you know what I mean? So that was me saying, yo, I'm doing something because I want to
have fun now.
You know what I'm saying? So I've done that, and my cousin still gets grief to this day for it.
You probably should still.
I get grief to this day for it, but we move. So
I know mommy's not happy about that.
She weren't playing. She cussed him out still. But obviously I was just trying to get back a bit of me, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, trying to figure out what I liked and disliked or whatever else. So it was a gradual phase of them saying, we're nearly there, blah, 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 blah. Your weight's getting good, your bloods are good, this, that and the other. So for a period of 5 years, but as it says, I'd met my son's mum by this stage. I'd quickly got into a relationship, and then soon after she was pregnant. So these times I didn't even think it would be a thing where I'd have a kid, because obviously I'd had chemo in it, and obviously they'd harvested my soldiers and that.
The thing was still strong.
You know what I'm saying? It's like papaya, bro. But nah. But so obviously I got in with her, had my son the following year after that, which is obviously a bit of a roller coaster. And here we are now in it. So it was just a case of me finding out myself, I guess.
Before we close, I want to know what kind of advice you'd give to somebody, especially somebody that's 16, 17, 18, going through that same experience that you had.
You know what's strange? A few years down the line, I must have had to have a keyhole surgery on my knee. And I can't remember what year it was. A few years ago. It was not too long ago. It's a few years ago from now, anyway. And I must have had to have keyhole surgery on my knee, and I must have gone in to the hospital.
Yeah.
And was on was it Sandwell? Can't remember. Anyway, went to the hospital, and I remember overhearing. That's why I'm glad you asked me this, because I remember overhearing a conversation that reminded me of me.
Serious?
Yeah. They said, this person is on this ward because they've got Hodgkins Lymphoma, stage 2A. He's from Black Caribbean background.
Yeah.
He's 16 or 17, I think they said my age when I was. And it was like, bro, that's someone else.
Yeah.
But that's me.
That's me. That's my life.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for the life of me, in me was go around and speak to that person and tell him what you went through, so that they can sort of feel a bit of comfort, because you're not there anymore. They are there.
Exactly.
And I didn't.
Nah.
Didn't do it. I don't know why. It's hard to say why. I guess mentally or emotionally, or God didn't prepare me for that moment then.
I hear you.
Because as it says, like, now conversations happen. Now I'll speak to people and they'll be like, I'll say, yeah. So when I was in hospital for cancer, they'll be like, what? What you say? I'm like, oh, I ain't told you that, have I? And he'll be like, you know what I mean? So my casual conversation happens like that. So and that's as I've got older. Whereas, in that moment, I guess it was like, it was. You know what? You know what's funny? It was, as it says, it went too long ago. Maybe because of how raw and how relatable that scenario was. It was still very much not dealt with.
It's personal for you. Still.
Yeah, I mean, I was I'm hearing myself. And he's there. Do you know what I mean? So I wish I did say something, but as it says, the gift of hindsight is I can look back at that scenario and be like, that was me, and as a past tense, that was me, and my advice at that time. And my advice now would be to anybody to keep looking forward. It has to be. It's easy to look forward, but life is boring when it's easy, bro. Do you know what I mean? When you're just mundane and going through easy stuff, it's boring. It ain't a life. And as hard as it is in the moment, when you have the focus that I had at that stage, and I guess it was, again, God's way or my own way of compartmentalizing emotion and that type of weight of everybody else thinking you need to be alright so that we can be alright. I didn't feel any of that. I was like, do you know what I mean? It's only, as it says, in my adult life that I still look back and think, wow, these people experience stuff and I didn't even resonate with it because I was just that far reserved away from it. Do you know what I mean? So my advice would just be like, just to keep focus, to pray, and just to keep the close people around you that you can rely on, because I think that there will be some rocks and some bumps in the road along a journey like that. But I think with a positive mindset, because that's important as well. With a positive mindset, they say. They even told me with stress. A lot of people don't realise that stress and what stress does to the body. It can bring out colds, it can bring out flus, it can bring out other things like. And that's not to say I was stressed, but looking back, I was putting my body under stress, and maybe that could have been something, because as it says, I was playing for 2 teams at the time, working college, and maybe, do you know what I mean?
Overload.
So overload, and maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say, but my advice to anybody going for that scenario would be to keep focused, keep looking forward, keep the people around you, keep the faith, whatever faith that might be, keep the faith, and eat some food and drink some papaya. Drink it for me. That's what it would be, man. It has to be, man, because you'd hopefully be able to look back at that scenario and be like, yo, I overcame that, and no one on this earth can take that away from you. No one. You know what I mean? You can die the next day. You can, you know what I mean? You can walk across the road and get licked over, but you still beat that. No one can take that away from you. So,
amen, bro.
So that's the real, man. That's the real, man.
Well done, man.
You know what I mean? It's one of them ones, isn't it? So I'm just glad that the place where I am now, I'm starting to, I guess with quarantine as well, I've started to realize more and take the time out for myself. I've had to seclude myself from a lot of scenarios and situations and people to do that and home in on things that I hadn't dealt with properly potentially, or find out who I am and what I want to do, purpose, like we were saying at the start of the video, and just try and implement that into society. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, man, it's allowed me to look at things differently and look at people differently. Because I was on a ward, I forgot to mention this, I was on an adult ward, because I purposely didn't want to go onto a children ward.
Serious?
Yeah, so I was a 17-year-old on an adult ward. So I was able to then relate to nurses and 65-year-old men and blah blah blah.
Adult conversation.
An adult conversation, but yet still I'm a kid, really, and still do kid things. And so now it's helped my character be able to, you know, flow with different people and different conversations, and you know what I mean, take stock of different things. So my advice is just to do that, because at the end of the day, when you're able to look back and realize what character it's created, I'm sure it'll be a good thing if you're able to do those things.